everybody, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse, and you are our wonderful, amazing, super awesome Patreon supporters. Welcome so much to the Patreon bonus stories. Every week, I am looking forward to this show and this show the most.
Yeah, this part of the show.
It is part of the, I mean, well, no, this is a show in itself.
That's
right?
true.
I mean, we're doing this. We do this in the middle of Tesla Time News. I think it's good. We build up all of our energy, and then this is kind of where we have the most energy, where we want to talk the most.
And we're also the most relaxed.
Yes, because we are talking directly to you guys who support us, who support this show. And so I know that there aren't a lot of, I mean, there are no random internet strangers on here who are going to be like, electric cars not real. You can't do that. Doesn't make, you know, you are all really wonderful, amazing people. And I've seen it. I've, you know, corresponded with a vast majority of you
on Discord.
And on Discord. Yes. And, you know, you guys are all wonderful. Let's just talk about Discord for a minute. It's growing.
Yeah.
It's really exciting. We have about 200 people on Discord.
Yeah. I'm scrolling through there every day.
Right. It's like this community of people, right? It's you people watching mostly, who are all just super excited to be talking about Tesla. We're coming up with all sorts of things. Like there's more news on the Discord than we talk about on Tesla Time News. It's a bit more dispersed, but it's really exciting. So for those of you who are supporting us for $3 or more a month, you have access to Discord right now. There are some steps that you need to follow in order to like make a Discord account and connect it to your Patreon account. It's not that difficult.
I did it.
He figured it out, so
Well, it's pretty easy.
I think you guys will be able to figure it out. And for those of you who are interested, you know, it just takes $3 a month. So
yeah.
If you're already supporting us for $1 or $2 a month, just a few more dollars a month.
It's cool to be in a friendly place where you can talk about stuff and no one jumps down your throat. Like everyone is so super helpful.
It's
like,
true.
People are posting questions on there like crazy, and then there's people who help answer it.
Right.
Like,
and
I love that. That's a community.
Right. And that's part of it. I mean, that we're all kind of on the same wavelength and level.
Because think about that. When you tweet something out on Twitter and the whole world can see it, you get people that are just want to be nasty and mean. And that's not what happens here.
It's really, it's like this. It's like
friendly Twitter.
It's like if the internet was the world, this would be like the Bahamas or something. Like this would be like wherever your
where's a friendly place? Like the Netherlands is friendly. Like
I don't know. Wherever you think the friendliest place, it's like that. It's just really, really nice.
Yeah.
It's the nicest spot on the internet by far.
Yeah.
I really encourage, you know, you guys to get over there, even if you've already been on there. Like, let's keep having some conversations. It's
all right.
fun.
Well, the Super Bowl was yesterday, and I feel like we should get into some Super Bowl commercials.
By the way, I know that we're from Massachusetts, but you know, Super Bowl is I don't know when it's happening.
I think the Super Bowl is later today or something.
Right.
I think
when we're recording it,
we're going to be recording in depth. I think during the Super Bowl.
Right. So I mean, we don't care if if people are upset as to the outcome of the Super Bowl. We didn't have any talismans or anything. Like we weren't doing any of the crazy stuff that other people around us are doing.
All right, let's get into this.
All
right, let's show the commercial.
Yes.
Grandpa? Welcome home. Come on. I've got something for you. What are you waiting for?
You're one lucky man. I was worried about you for a minute.
Going up to the spirit in the sky. That's where I'm gonna go when I die. When I die and the name of
All right, so that was it. If you didn't know what that was a commercial for, because it could have been a commercial for the Anti-Cashew Association.
Absolutely.
I mean, it was hard to tell what it was even for, but that was for the Audi e-tron. And this is what Audi decided to spend their money on.
For a Super Bowl ad.
Well, I mean,
national television.
It's not a bad idea to run an ad, and it's not a bad idea to run it during the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But the car didn't drive.
Right.
it wasn't even a car you could buy, because if you read the fine print, it said this is a concept car. You cannot buy this car. So they made a car, and then they're like, but let's not show the car driving or doing anything. The guy was having a death dream. He was dying, basically, right? He was choking on a cashew.
Right.
And he was having a dream.
So he's having like an
as-
oxygen-starved fever dream.
Right. And he, I understand you dream about your grandfather, but his grandfather shows him an electric car. He's sitting in it, not even getting to drive it. And then a song comes on that talks about dying.
Well done when I die.
Right.
Right,
And
yeah.
so I predict, so if you read the fine print during it, it said that during 2025, Audi is going to have a third of their cars will be electrified. That just means, for you out there, does not mean that there'll be batteries. It could mean just hybrids.
Right, mild hybrids.
Mild hybrids.
Right,
So,
yeah.
and that's just a third of their cars. So I'm going to put this down. You can mark it on your calendars if you want to. 2025, I think, will be the year that Audi will die.
Right. If it goes in this way, and here's the thing, I think that they were making fun of electric car drivers. You know, when he's getting like, you know, like they're like somehow trying to make a dig on Tesla. I'm that's my takeaway, is that like
I don't know what they were doing. Why did they spend any money at all on this? This did not make me want to buy any.
it's not a car commercial.
No.
Like a car commercial, you show the car driving, right?
It may be. I think it was a commercial to remind you to be careful eating nuts. I mean, that's all I could. Don't eat at your desk alone.
Right. I don't understand. And here's the thing. You know, we talked about on Tesla Time News this week about how Audi is going to run into some trouble if they release their car and their charging network is not up to snuff, which at the moment it is not up to snuff and doesn't show any signs of getting it much better. Again, this ad, which they spent millions and millions and millions of dollars on. I mean, I think the average Super Bowl ad placement is like $4 million.
Right, and that doesn't include the shooting of it. Like you have to
Right,
film it. It's like a mini movie.
That's just handing them a thumb drive and saying, "Could you put this in at a specific time during the Super Bowl?" Yeah, that doesn't count any of the production value or any of the stuff that they had to spend money on. They spent all that money, and they don't have a car to sell.
And you brought up a really good point earlier, which was that Tesla spent a few $1 million to get out some Roadsters, which was part of their referral program. And everyone was like, oh, that's too expensive. But they did that. And not only that, every day people are talking about the Roadsters. Like
It's true.
That's an idea that continues on. This ad in 2 weeks, you won't even remember it.
Well, and the other thing is that referral program had created sales in the
$2 billion.
$2 billion worth of revenue.
Right.
So like that is a really good return on investment. In this, they're not even like go down to your dealership and buy it, because
No,
you can't.
Please comment in the section.
Right.
Like, we may be way off. Maybe the
Right.
grandfather caught you and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to go down to my Audi dealership. So please put in the comments, did this ad catch you? Or did this ad like resonate with
Yeah,
you?
there could be some. I could just be really jaded and not like it for some particular reason. But like, show the car driving instead of having him do the jerk because he's getting like the Heimlich maneuver. Maybe show the car driving really fast, which is something that it should be able to do.
Right.
It should blast past people on the highway. It should be,
Or in the wheat field.
ripping out, of a stoplight. I mean, show some cool stuff.
Right.
It's a cool car. Don't like just have a dopey guy in it. He looks like a dope at the end of the commercial. You don't want to be like him by the end of the commercial.
Exactly.
You know?
They're
They're making fun of people who are dreaming about their electric cars.
Right.
That is my takeaway.
He wasn't even dreaming. He was dying.
Right. It's
Right.
like
it wasn't like he daydreamed at his desk.
then the when I die, you're going to be able to drive these cars when you die.
Right.
Like when you're the grandfather's age, that's when you can drive these
Right.
cars. That's my takeaway. Maybe I am completely radically wrong about this.
No, I felt the same
But
way.
it's like they were like, well, we need to make a commercial about the e-tron, but man, screw those guys.
You know what's funny? This next commercial. So we're negative on the Audi commercial, but we're positive on this one. Check it out. Again, wheat fields. I don't know why there's such this thing with wheat fields.
America.
It's America, I guess. But
This is the Super Bowl. It's the most American thing. Well, I want to begin by saying that, like, the Audi e-tron, that was a product that I am like, good. E-tron, electric car, good.
Right.
This commercial is for beer. I'm not suggesting that you go out and buy beer and drink it. I'm not for beer. I'm not pro beer. I don't like beer or alcohol in general. I'm not like pushing it.
Right.
I'd want to make that clear.
Right. What we're happy about is the fact that if you take a look here, this picture of the bottle, that they're now going to be putting this 100% renewable energy sticker on their bottles to show people that they're making their beer with renewable energy. And I mean, here's a quote from one of their spokespeople. What's interesting and different about this is that it's a consumer-facing symbol on the packaging. So when people are getting together for beers all over the world, they're going to know those beers were brewed with 100% renewable electricity. That, to me, is a seismic shift, because then we're going to have everyday people talking about it and talking about the issue. So that is a statement from AB Bev, which is the Budweiser owner. I think that is great, because a lot of people do stand around with their beers at a party or at a bar, and that's going to be like, hey, what's going on here? And that'll start getting people talking like, I guess 100% renewable is cool. That's great.
Right. Hey, I like Budweiser. This sticker says 100% renewable. I should apply that to my personal brand.
Right.
I mean, I think that it is a positive thing. It is this, again, this sort of cultural shift of like what is acceptable. It used to be like, gotta be burning the coal, cool, manly. And now it's like, I'm drinking my beer.
And here's-
it's 100% renewable.
Here's the other thing. The Super Bowl is kind of a snapshot at what's going on in America at that moment. These two ads are going to run during the Super Bowl. That's showing you that a growing percentage of ads have to do with electric cars, renewable energy. That is a huge takeaway for me, because I'm all in favor of that.
I completely agree.
That's just a wonderful thing for people, because people go to Super Bowl. If you're from Europe or something and you're like, I don't know what you're talking about. People go to Super Bowl parties and they talk about the ads. The ads is like a big part of the
ads
game.
is in some ways more important than the football game. I know that that's kind of funny to think about if you're not used to. I mean, and hey, maybe the World Cup is like that too. Maybe there's really good commercials. I don't know. I don't live in Europe. But yeah, the commercials
You
are
can watch the World Cup in
part
the
of the
United
event.
States. You know that, right?
Sure, but we're never in it. We don't- I think that's self-deprecating enough. So yeah, I mean, it's a cultural
Shift.
thing. This shows a real big shift.
I just want to say, for decades and decades, you wouldn't have found any environmental stuff on there at all.
Right.
And so now, if you want to plot it, you're probably going to see that we're beginning of an S-curve.
Right. And this is, again, hugely due to Tesla's doing.
Oh, yeah, of course.
The awareness
totally
that they
moved this.
bring to the cause of renewable energy and everything like that, you might be just thinking like, no, they're just selling cars. No, there are so many people who can't afford a Tesla that are so excited by Tesla. And I know this because there are people out there probably watching this right now who are like, I can't afford to buy a Tesla, but I freaking love the company and I will talk about it with everyone that I know.
Right.
And you are making a difference.
Exactly.
Making a huge difference. That is why these ads are popping up. It's because it is such a cultural shift that is happening, that it was super pushed by Tesla. I can't stress that enough. It's sexy. It's so approachable from so many different perspectives.
Yep.
It doesn't, just because you like Tesla does not mean that you are automatically a liberal or automatically a hippie or care about the environment. There are some people who just like the cars because the cars are cool.
Right.
That's huge. You have people who get sucked into it, and then you're now sucked into this kind of, place where people are talking about the sustainability, and it's gonna rub off on you.
Yeah.
Even if you're some guy who's like, no way, the environment is not in danger, it's not humans' fault, blah blah blah, you're still going to be now exposed to it. And that is the strength of Tesla, and that is what they've been doing in their goal.
Yeah.
It's so
Are
exciting.
you this new CMO of
No,
Tesla?
I'm just,
That's
it's
amazing.
so exciting.
I know, it is. It really is.
This stuff, when we started Tesla Time News, we were crazy people.
We still are.
We still are, but I mean, nothing of what we were saying was being talked about anywhere else in the real world, right?
Right.
It was all just like, yeah, maybe, you could maybe have someone, who got, like an off question and they were like, whoa, oh, kind of caught them off guard. They might say something to the effect of this. Now we're seeing, $1 million commercials for the Super Bowl.
But,
It's really exciting.
I got to tamp down that enthusiasm, Jesse, with a little bit of this. This is some Fox FUD for you, folks.
Shares of Tesla stock diving today, dropping nearly 13% after announcing a 7% cut in its workforce. This is founder and CEO Elon Musk is trying to deliver on his so-called cheap version of the Model 3 electric sedan. It's still $35,000. FoxNews.com's automotive editor Gary Gastelou is here with us now. So, Gary, with federal tax cuts for electrics phasing out, is Tesla ever going to be able to make a middle-class car?
Yeah, it's getting tough. Look, they've already lowered prices to offset some of that tax cut, but then the tax cut happens again. They get another half of the tax cut in a couple of months, and they're really having trouble getting the price down. They used to $35,000. They haven't gotten to the $35,000 car yet. The cheapest one they're making right now is $44,000, and they can't make money on that. They've got a long way to go. They front-loaded production last year in Q3 to make those profits. With the high-end models, clearly they've eaten up a lot of that demand. Now they need to get these mid-price models out that they can sell in Europe as well, but they're nowhere near that $35,000 car. And by the time they get there, there's not going to be any tax credits left for the people who are actually going to be able to buy it.
And as far as I'm concerned, Gary, isn't the issue getting the cars out, producing them fast enough, and then delivering them fast enough? And if you have fewer workers, how do you do that?
He spelled this out last year. He said, look, we're going to hire a lot of people to get production up, then we're going to streamline it to get costs down. This is actually not a surprise if you go back and take a look at his tweets from last year. But this is the whole idea behind Tesla. Let's build this big giant factory, let's build this big giant assembly plant, and let's get the costs down. What they're learning now is what everybody kind of already knew, is that it's hard to get the costs down on the technology right now. And this is why you're not seeing a lot of mainstream electric cars that sell at an affordable price. And the automakers that are competing against them, like Nissan and like General Motors, they have other product lines that could generate profits to pay for this. In the meantime, Tesla doesn't. All it has is electric cars, which is what makes it doubly difficult for it.
Gary Smith here in Florida. Just building on what you were just saying, do you think Tesla has any competitive advantage? I mean, at the bottom line, they make an electric car with almost no distribution. I can't see them competing in the long term, maybe even in the short term, against anyone, Ford, Volkswagen, Subaru, that's coming out with electric cars.
Right now, their advantage is technological, and they've got the battery plant, which is important as well. But look at Volkswagen, one of the biggest car companies in the world. They're going to be spending $84 billion to develop electric cars in the coming years. Tesla's worth $55 billion. I mean, you can just see the scale of what's coming ahead, and that's just Volkswagen, Ford, General Motors all getting into it. Now, that said, earlier this week, Toyota's American CEO, Jim Lentz, he said we're going to have too many electric cars in a couple of years, and it's going to be a long time before they take over, and that's why Toyota's not going all in on this quite yet.
Gary, don't you think sometimes we're a little bit too tough on Tesla? I'm gonna devil's advocate here. What they were founded, I think, in 2003. They've been in business 15 years. It takes time for any automobile manufacturer to establish itself. Gary B. brought up their problems with distribution, legitimate problem, but that's an easily solved problem once you've got your product to a price point and to a design place that people want them. I think we need to give Tesla more time.
I'm sorry. It's a problem they created themselves, though. Keep in mind, they didn't have to build a $35,000 car. They could have stuck at the high end and become a very profitable company in the style of Porsche, and then held off until they were making money and could pay for this thing. But Elon Musk wants to change the world. He wants to do it now, and that's why they're living on the edge.
Yeah, we didn't give John DeLorean a lot of time. He had like a couple of years when there was a recession.
Well, he had some other issues.
Couldn't do an IPO. This guy's had a lot of time and money to make it. The whole viability, I question whether you can make a nice car for $35,000 that's that nice. I mean, you can get a Nissan Leaf, sure, but that's not a nice car when it boils right down to it. Is this a fantasy he's going after that's going to bring the whole company down, that he should just focus on the luck? It's really cool that people are now buying Teslas instead of like M5s and other high fuel consumption luxury cars. But this is it a myth? Like, is there really a market there below 50,000? Is that even solving the world's problem compared to like making these electric sleds to go through tunnels that he's working on?
Well, not even electric sleds, there are these cars that are going to go into those tunnels. Look, if you've been in a Model 3, the cheaper versions actually aren't all that nice, but you can buy the nicer interior and upgrade them. When there's a $35,000 model, I'm sure it's going to feel like a $35,000.
But compared to a Nissan Leaf, it's a nice car.
Yeah, but, well, not really. Have you been in the cheapest Model 3? I mean, it's not a super plush car at all. You really have to spend money to get the upgraded interior to get into the good one. And again, we haven't seen what the $35,000 model looks like. If it's got cloth seats, I'm sure it's not going to have cloth seats.
Gary Gastelum.
Low trim levels, it's not going to help.
Thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that was Fox News' automotive editor, Gary Gastelum. You got to keep in mind that he knows everything about the automotive industry, right? He's the editor for a major network.
That's his job, yeah.
And, you know, some little quotes in here. First of all, they can't make money on the $44,000 car was a quote from that little clip.
Really?
Wrong, because I heard that they're making 25% margins on the car. That's way better than most cars' margins, by the way.
Right.
Also, we heard that the Model 3 doesn't feel that nice. So you're a Model 3 driver. I'm a Model 3 driver.
He's saying that, oh, you got to pay a lot of money to have the nice interior for the Model 3. Now, that's not a wrong statement. The premium interior does cost more.
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying, have you sat in the non-premium Model 3? It's not that nice. Whoa, 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 whoa. You can't know that. There is no non-premium Model 3. No, you f***ing liar.
Wow.
I mean, what the... Seriously.
Let me hold him back for you, Gary.
I mean...
Run, Gary, run.
All I can think of is this one clip.
Buster, how do you know if any of this stuff is true? What do you mean? How do you know someone didn't just make it up?
What? You mean just lie? You really think someone would do that? Just go on the internet and tell lies?
I just mean that some of the details...
Whoa, I never thought of that. This is terrible. What if none of it's true? What if they're all lying? How would we ever know?
He's lying. He's lying in saying, because we don't know what the interior of the standard Model 3 is going to be.
No one's ever seen it.
No one's ever seen it. I'm not saying it's going to be...
I don't even think Elon knows. I don't think they made one.
Right. I'm not saying it's going to be this really nice interior. Maybe it's going to look terrible and people are going to be like, oh my gosh, Elon, why did you do that? But we don't know that. So you can't say something that you don't know. Like, you're a liar, Gary. You're a freaking liar. There's no way. This is like, and so when people are like, oh, you know, Tesla Q and FUD, they're just trying to like dig up the truth, man. No, they're not. They are actively lying. They are making lies and telling lies to the public. So that way, when people are talking to me or when they're just having thoughts in their brains, if they watch this and they believe it because it's on TV, of course you'd believe it, they're thinking, oh, okay, the Model 3 is going to have a bad interior for the $35,000 interior when that is not known. So then they're going to talk to their friends and be like, oh, yeah, I heard the Model 3 has a bad interior. And then that little piece of lying fake knowledge can just skew their entire perspective on it. So, I mean,
yeah. So, I mean, they're tripping over themselves to invent a narrative that doesn't exist. How about the woman who said that, how's he going to make more cars if he's cutting more employees? Like,
right.
Well, you know what? They are.
Right.
Because not all those employees were making the cars, first of all.
It's
a
true.
lot of them were, you know, delivery specialists and selling solar. I mean, so that had nothing to do with it. Plus, they're getting more efficient in making the cars, so you need less people to actually make them.
And plus, in June, they had an even bigger layoff.
Right.
Like, that gets completely left on the table. Like, there was a bigger layoff in June, and then they also grew as a company, and they grew making more cars.
Here's the thing. There's only one graph or chart that they show during these pieces, and the chart is always Tesla stock price.
Right.
And they always time these little stories for, let's wait for it. Oh, there's a day where the stock price dropped. Let's talk about it.
It's like they all have these notebooks, and they're like, they are sitting on the toilet, and they're just like, what am I... Oh, the interior isn't that nice, and then they're just sitting on the toilet again. And so then when they find, then they're just waiting basically for the one day for the stock price to be lower than it was the day before, so they can show that ticker chart where it's red, and then they can pull out their thing and be like, the interior, okay.
What
Oh, the interior is going to be bad, Jim. Let me tell you about it. It's going to not be as nice as you think it's going to be. I can tell you about it.
Why doesn't Gary Gastelum pull up a chart that shows the number of Tesla Model 3s that have been selling? I mean, why doesn't he pull up a chart of their revenue going through the roof or their profitability?
Right.
They have all these charts available to them. They never show them once.
Right.
They just bring up a bunch of conjectures that aren't true.
Right. It's just constant FUD. This is what we're talking about when we're talking about FUD. Okay? If there are people who have like legitimate concerns, if they're like looking at their financials and being like, this number here makes me worried, I am listening to that. I'm saying, okay, let me do some research. Let me find out what's up with that number. This kind of stuff is just garbage.
Exactly.
It's such drivel. They're just
think about how much other garbage you're getting on every other story they
Right.
do, because these guys sit around talking about everything all day.
I know.
And how much of what they're talking about is even true?
It's frightening. It's because we've been focused so laser focused on Tesla specifically for 2 years. We've just been constantly researching it every single week that we know so much and that we can laugh when people tell us things. Right. You know, if tomorrow, if someone were to walk up to me, it's kind of like the flat earth thing, right? People are like, oh, the earth is flat. And you could be like, okay, bud, cool. And then like, there are some people to where they don't know enough and they're going to be like, really? And then there's some of us who are going to be like, I don't believe you, but I will double check my facts and be like, yeah, according to like a whole bunch of math, you're wrong. They're basically telling us that the world is flat. I mean, that's the crux of it. And it's so frustrating. And it's so frustrating to have to constantly deal with. We thought that it was, I didn't, but you know, we thought that it was over. Right? There was a period where there was this big lull in FUD, and it's basically just so that way they can stop with the boy who cried wolf material for a little bit, where because if they just keep repeating it, it's not gonna stick as much as if they're like if you just kind of wait a minute and then boom, you come back in with some more. All right, so now we are going to move on to the Model 3 tip of the week, which is part of Patreon bonus stories.
Yeah, you get it on Mondays before everyone else gets it on Wednesdays. So here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Hey everybody, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
And you're watching the Model 3 tip of the week. So this week we're going to do a little bit on Tesla's hill hold.
Right, so this is something that almost never gets talked about. Basically, if you're on a hill, you can hit the brake pedal, you set the brake, and then you can just hit the gas pedal and start driving away.
Let's go check it out.
So the Tesla Model 3 has a really nice feature. It's called Hill Hold, and it does kind of what it says on the tin. It allows you to set the brake on a hill, and then basically you can take your foot off the brake, and it won't move until you hit one of the two pedals. Either the brake again to start rolling in whatever direction gravity wants you to, or the accelerator to move forward. So right now I'm on a hill. I'm going down the hill right now, and I have Hill Hold turned on. And basically all you have to do is come to a complete stop and continue to push the brake, and then you'll see this little H symbol pop up on the screen. There'll be a little prompt that says, to release vehicle hold, press brake pedal. Now, that does not mean that you always have to press the brake pedal. Again, like I said, you can use the accelerator pedal. So it's great at all times to basically, once you're at a stop, to not have to keep your foot on the brake all the time. You can, at any point, just hit the accelerator and be on your way. All right, so I'm on a hill. I have Hill Hold activated, and my foot is off the pedals. So neither of my feet are touching the pedals. If I wanted to go forward, I hit the accelerator pedal, and away we go. I don't have to worry about switching pedals really fast. That's stressful when you're in a car where you have to I'm on this steep hill and I need to go up, but I'm going to roll backward into the guy behind me. Luckily, with Hill Hold, that's not a problem. Another thing you can do, if you want to, is you can hit the brake pedal, which will release Hill Hold. So now it just says 0 miles an hour. And if you let go of the brake, you start to roll backwards. We can come to a stop again, and Hill Hold will activate again after we come to a stop and I'm pressing the brake pedal enough. But if I release the brake, there's no way for me to reset the Hill Hold. So if I release it now, even to go to the accelerator pedal, we're going to roll backward a little bit. Now, not a lot, but still enough. There's no way to set Hill Hold again. I can bring it to just where we're rolling backward, and push it down all the way, push the brake down all the way, it won't set. So the only way if you were really in trouble would be to put it in park, then switch over to back to the brake again, put it in drive, and then you could set the brake hill hold again and put it in drive. I don't see this being a problem. The couple times that hill hold has been kind of weird for me is where I kind of pull up to a stoplight where I'm on a hill, right? I'll pull up and I'll either be on such a slight hill that I won't think about setting the brake, and so I will start to just gently roll backwards into the person behind me, or I will approach the stoplight, I'll hit my brake, and then for whatever reason I'll like turn to look at something or do something else, and I will inadvertently unset the brake and I'll start rolling backwards. So those are the two things to watch out for once you get used to hill hold, but it is a really, really nice feature. So another nice thing is at stop signs and at stoplights, hill hold also works. It doesn't matter if you're on a hill or if you're on completely perfectly flat level plane, hill hold will still activate. And what that means is you can sit at a stop sign or at a stoplight with your foot just resting on the accelerator pedal. You are ready to go at a moment's notice. So if, for instance, there was a lot of traffic and I was just looking for my way in, and at some point I knew that I needed to floor it, right? And I knew that I couldn't, can't switch between my brake and my accelerator pedal. I can sit here, my foot sitting right on the accelerator, and I'm not moving forward or backward. And then at a moment's notice, I can, time to go. If I needed to, I didn't need to there, but if I needed to, that could be a way for me to get a spot that I normally wouldn't be able to get while I was driving. I hope that, for those of you who may not have known about this, that it's helpful.
Thank you so much for watching, everybody. These Model 3 tips of the week come out every Wednesday, and we would love to get your ideas for shows, and if you got tips yourself, so please leave them in the comments or contact us at zach@nowyouknowchannel.com. Thank you so much for watching.
Now you know.
All right, so we're going to head back out of the show right now. Thank you so much, Patreons, for watching and for being a part of our community. Let's get back to the show.
All right. See you next week.